weekend. Man, it's been a hell of a last several days. There's no doubt about that. So, it's in the title. Look, Trump is taking on the blue states, the blue cities. There's no doubt about that. Do they need him? Don't they need him? Doesn't matter what the court says. Trump's trying to figure out a way to get around all of these things. And when it comes to immigration, and that's a lot of what this is. I mean, they can talk about a lot of other stuff. When it comes to immigration, let's be 100% honest. Democrats, this is a you problem. You may not like the way Trump's doing things. Totally understandable. I think a lot of people were thinking it was going to be something different. It wasn't going to be Black Hawk helicopters. It wasn't going to be guys rappelling down certain places. I think a lot of people are like, I'm uncomfortable with, how the sausage is made. I mean, I'm fine with eating the sausage. I just don't want to see how it's made. That being said, I go back to, you can't allow, 12 to 14 million people to wander through into our country with no real plan and think that somehow this was going to end up well. Outside of a few things, and quite frankly, I think outside of the economy, there's no doubt that immigration was the number one thing in the last election. So you're not liking what is going on, but Biden and the administration were a huge reason that it went on because you allowed it to happen. So if you want to blame somebody, blame Biden, blame the administration. Now, the way that Trump's handling stuff, we could sit here all day and talk about it. Am I thrilled by it? No. Do I think it hurts the narrative? Yes. Do I think a lot of this is a pissing contest between Donald Trump and the administration versus blue states and blue cities and wokeness and this, that, and the other, and Antifa? Absolutely. Do I think there are others inside of the administration that are pushing this? See Stephen Miller, 100%. But here we are. And I think it's going to get uglier before it gets better. I do. And it isn't until Trump is quick to go, oh, polls are against me? Well, I don't like that. We better figure something out. Trump is quick to pivot in that direction. Right now, I mean, and remember, we always have to start with everything right around 40%. 30, 40% for pretty much anybody who's in the presidency, because that's where we are. This is still arguably his best topic, if you will. This is it. I mean, his best issue is immigration. We can disagree how he wants to handle things, and I do, quite frankly, at times disagree. And when you don't listen to what the judges say, i.e. Portland, and if you guys didn't hear, they ruled on Saturday, hey, dude, you can't do that, Mr. President. You can't, there's no need for you. You don't have the right to bring in the National Guard of Oregon. And he said, okay. And then he brings the National Guard from California. So you're like, this is what he's trying to do. And then you've got Pritzker.
Instead, they broke windows, they broke down doors, they ransacked the place, and there were people that were held, elderly people and children zip-tied. Elderly people held for 3 hours at a time. They are the ones that are making it a war zone. They need to get out of Chicago if they're not going to focus on the worst of the worst, which is what the president said they were going to do. They need to get.
Okay, now there's a perfect example. How do you focus on the worst of the worst? So this is what I hear from my Democrat friends. Due process. Absolutely. Okay. So somebody comes into our country legally, maybe has committed a few crimes, maybe gets caught for something, is in custody, has been through the system, has an order to be removed, sometimes once, sometimes twice. And the locals have, whether it be, state, whether it be city, whatever. And hey, they say, hey, we got an order to get this guy out of here, this gal out of here. Okay. So then what? Well, we're not going to work with you. So wait a minute. The worst of the worst, the bad hombres, the people that you want everybody to get, you're not going to allow them to get because you hate Trump so much you're willing to stand against him in this situation. And then you're mad because they're going to go elsewhere to find people. This is the insanity of which we live. The battle of bullshit, I call it. Most people I know want to have some sort of immigration that is fair and gives people opportunity to come here. At the same time, they want the bad people gone, and that includes people on the right and the left, And no, they don't want you to go, yeah, we know we got this guy in custody and he's done some things that are bad and he shouldn't be here and he's got 2 orders to be removed. But if we allow you to take him, that means we're complicit in deporting everybody, which is bullshit. This is why this is why people get pissed, because when they see and they say, you know what? You don't need Blackhawks. You don't need tear gas. You don't need people rappelling into buildings. You don't need any of that stuff. But you also should have the right to work with agencies. When you say, hey, I've got somebody here that is coming up that he's got order to be removed. Would you guys like him? Yeah. Well, you can't have him because we're going to make a stand. This is the shit that doesn't make sense. The average person in America doesn't want any part of this. You know what they want? How about you guys work together, sort this out? Let's get the bad people out of here. Let's bring some of the people from the shadows out here, find out who wants to be here. All right. And who wants to be here because they love America. They want to integrate into America. As I like to say, they're not here for a booty call. They want to put a ring on. Let's find out who that is, and we're going to go from there. We've got to do better, and you got to stop fighting amongst yourself. It's not going to help anybody. It isn't. We move from there to, you know what, one of the things that makes me laugh is we're going to get deeper into this tomorrow. The purple revolution, they're calling it, which is red and blue against each other. But no, wait a minute. We're not. We're going to come together. Now we're going to be purple. We're going to find out a better name for that. And we're going to debut that here in the next day or so. But that being said, they want us fighting with one another because it's great for them to do the things they like to do and nobody pays any attention to it. Case in point, the whole thing with Bad Bunny. So if you guys don't know Bad Bunny is, Bad Bunny's one of the biggest stars in the world outside of Taylor is in a different world, okay? But underneath, you can make an argument. He's arguably the second biggest star in the world. He's going to host he just hosted Saturday Night Live, and he's going to do the Super Bowl halftime show. And people, of course, on the right are apoplectic about it.
Okay, what's the controversy with this rapper at the Super Bowl?
Well, the guy knowingly goes out there and opposes our ICE agents and our operations. He has been out there and refuses to tour in the United States because he thinks
he doesn't have to tour, and nobody can make him tour.
Right. He's been very much against what Homeland Security has been doing. So they asked me just a couple of days ago, you know, what we would do about the Super Bowl because he's been asked to perform there, and the Department of Homeland Security is responsible for the security of big events.
So it's not ICE at the Super Bowl necessarily. It's the Homeland Security protecting against terrorists.
Homeland Security and all of our components always engage for big events like that. We run the security operations, make sure that we have drone technology for surveillance and security. We run the magnetometers. We partner with the local police to make sure it's safe, that people can come there and don't have to worry about their family being, having security. So we will be there. We will be everywhere. And I'm not going to guarantee that there's not going to be ICE people there. And I think that everybody should make sure that when they go to a big event with their family and enjoy it like they do the Super Bowl, then everybody's a law-abiding American, that they want to be there and they follow our laws and respect them.
Well, first of all, people from all over the world are coming here to go to the Olympics, coming here to go to the World Cup next year. So probably not law-abiding American citizens because there won't be American citizens. Secondly, why ICE? I mean, Department of Homeland Security, absolutely call it in. After 9/11, everybody realized we got a lot of soft targets. I mean, we saw last summer, that close to horror, I think it was in Austria, that could have happened with those 3 who wanted to shoot up the Taylor Swift concert, which was insane. You have to have massive security. But this is another one of those things where the right and the left love the fact, and I'm talking about the elites, that we're arguing over shit that doesn't matter. Bad Bunny, God bless him. By the way, he's Puerto Rico, American citizen. I mean, he is, it's a territory. So it's, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't. Whether he's there or he's not there, you know what? Doesn't bring down your healthcare costs. Doesn't make food cheaper. Doesn't make your paycheck bigger. People are fighting over stuff that doesn't need to actually have a conversation or a fight over. And yes, the culture wars are real and they're big and people take them very seriously, but we get so caught up in them that you realize, well, all this other stuff's going on. People are doing shit. And you're like, what the hell's going on? Because you got 2 groups that are laughing as we're arguing over, should he be in the Super Bowl? Should he do the Super Bowl? I don't think he should be in the Super Bowl because he hates America. Oh, I think he should because he's everything that is, no, there are other shit that's more important, and we need to focus on that. Absolutely true. And that's why tomorrow we're going to talk about the Purple Revolution, a lot of stuff that's going on out there that I think needs to have a conversation, because we're the exhausted majority. I've said that for a long time, and we need to be that exhausted majority that starts taking the conversation back, and we start holding people accountable on both sides of the aisle for trying to get by without doing much and dividing us. And as you're doing that, doing whatever it is that you want to do, because we're too busy fighting over something ridiculous and stupid. Speaking of that, Trump was asked earlier today. So Supreme Court is in session and could be one of the biggest Supreme Court's sessions of all time, especially when it comes to the power of the president, because so much is going to be riding on president, from birthright citizenship to his executive orders and the power that he has to when it comes to tariffs and things of that nature. But one of the things that happened today is they told Ghislaine Maxwell, no, we're not going to rehear the case. This isn't going to happen. And earlier Trump was, asked about, hey, could you pardon her?
The Supreme Court is back and they rejected today an appeal by Ghislaine Maxwell to overturn her conviction. That means her only chance of getting out of prison is a pardon from you. Is that something you're...
Who are we talking about?
Ghislaine Maxwell.
I haven't heard the name in so long. I can say this, that I'd have to take a look at it. I would have to take a look. Did they reject that?
She wanted to appeal her conviction.
And what happened?
They said that they were not going to hear her appeal.
I see. Well, I'll take a look at it. I will speak to the DOJ. I wouldn't consider it or not consider it. I don't know anything about it. So, but I will speak to the DOJ.
Why would she be a candidate for clemency, sir?
I don't know. I mean, I'd have to speak to the DOJ. I'll look at it. I have a lot of people who have asked me for pardons. I call him Puff Daddy has asked me for a pardon.
But she was convicted of child sex trafficking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to take a look at it. I have to ask DOJ. I didn't know they rejected it. I didn't know she was even asking for it, frankly.
So, first of all, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, whatever it is, I don't know which one. We touched on this a little bit today. I have no idea which one would get it first. You do with her, with all the shit that's going on, the fact that you haven't set Grijalva yet, she would be the 218th vote. And Mike Johnson, because, that's what they do. They haven't set her yet. As far as sworn her in, she gets seated and they were going to vote on this. So that hasn't happened. And so that's a real issue. Secondly, she was involved with somebody very notorious who was, so much stuff surrounding him. And we didn't go on and on about Epstein, but the reality is there's no chance in hell you should even think about this. But I don't know what goes through people's minds. And for Trump, if he was to commute her sentence or pardon her, really? And then when it comes to P. Diddy, because I said, which one do you think would get it first? Here's the thing about P. Diddy. If it was just the buying sex over state lines or whatever they got him for, which wasn't the big one, maybe. But if he was to pardon P. Diddy, every single ad that the Democrats should run should be P. Diddy beating up that girl. I don't want to say her name because, that's the ad that you would run, because you would say, man, this is what you guys want to, concern yourself with. Too much bullshit when it comes to pardons. We recognize that. Too many people getting pardoned in ways that they shouldn't be pardoned. And I'm not saying there shouldn't be some, but let's be real. These two, no thank you. But I wouldn't be surprised if one or two get pardoned or commuted sentences. Don't be surprised. Trump's going to be like, it'll be great. He's going to help me write diss tracks. It's going to be awesome. I think you guys will like it. I feel like that's what's coming with one of these. And I just don't know if he could do it with her. No. Even though that she has spoken well, when she spoke to the DOJ, you do that and you're going to open up a can of shit that isn't going to go anywhere anytime. That snake is going to blow up everywhere in this administration. Absolutely. And, for all this stuff, again, we're talking about the Bad Bunny and Maxwell and whatnot, close to maybe a deal when it comes to some peace in the Middle East. Is it going to be perfect? No. Can they get it done? I'd like to think so. I think we'd all like to think that they could get something done when it comes to Gaza, Israel, really Hamas and Israel. I mean, is it possible? Yeah, I think it is. I think it is possible. Is it going to be perfect? No. And I guess over the weekend, Trump and Bibi kind of, went at it a little bit because he's just like, dude, take the win. Why are you always so fucking down? Take the win. But part of the problem for Bibi in taking a win is there are other things out there that he's concerned about that aren't Hamas. And those are 3 big trials hanging over his head when it comes to corruption. And he recognizes this, and we've talked about this ad nauseum for months with our military analyst, Mike Lyons, that he's going to have to do some answering for some very serious charges of corruption. And there's a serious chance that he may be in the kind of trouble where you end up in jail. So for it to end may be the beginning of a different battle that I don't think he wants any part of. Plus, his party is a party that is really interested in them, being the Palestinians, sticking around. Not really interested in that. Wants to move into a different direction, I'm thinking. They think, well, if we just took everything, that'll be great. So there's a lot going on here, but I think it's getting closer to something, and we'll see. And you're going to have Hamas, I'm sure, that is pushing back in some areas as far as, you want us to give up all our weapons. Okay, so we're going to give up all our weapons. When are you guys getting out? What about, the swapping of they want to? I have a feeling if things go well, by the end of this week, we could see some movement when it comes to hostages, both the remains and some of the living. So these are all things that are amazing. It should be talked, but they're not as salacious as some of this other stuff. And that's what gets people talking in situations where we sit back and go, what are we arguing over? Some dumb stuff. There's some serious shit here. Some serious stuff we should be championing. So it's not all bad. It's not all good. But there's no doubt that every day in the Trump administration, there's some spice going on. And I expect that to continue moving forward. Tomorrow, we're going to have a much longer podcast. We're going to talk about the exhausted majority, which is what we are. And they're talking about this purple revolution, but the revolution needs to come from the fact that it's not purple. We're a majority of people that are exhausted. And that sounds better than the purple revolution, because the purple revolution sounds like Prince would sue us from the grave, and we don't want that. Right? We don't want that. So we talk about that tomorrow, as well as a bunch of other stuff. If you have a chance, check out our radio show. And here's the thing. Starting today, we did the countdown of the 20 scariest horror movies of all time. We do it all the way up until, and each day. So we're going to do it all the way up until Halloween, and where we'll have number 1. Today, Blair Witch was our number 20 that redefined the, really, there had been some found footage type like stuff and some VHS stuff back, but this redefined it and made it so it was super mainstream, a $60,000 movie that made almost $250 million. It was massive, and it was about imagination over gore. That was incredible. So we're going to have number 19 tomorrow. So if you have a chance, check out the Chad Benson Show. Simple and easy. Go to chadbensonshow.com. We are live 6 to 9 Pacific, 9 to noon Eastern. You check out our podcast as well. Like and subscribe here. We appreciate it when you do that. And again, check us out tomorrow. See all of our sponsors, right? Prize Picks, by the way. Prize Picks, amazing, right? Use my code Chad. Win big. Download the app today. They're amazing, as well as Relief Factor. Go to relieffactor.com if you want to feel better, especially if you're working out and doing stuff and you get a little bit older, longer in the tooth. You and I both know you fall asleep, you wake up, you're like, I'm sore. Relief Factor will help you with that. So check out all